Good morning, everybody. This is Real Estate Talk TGIF, and my name is Dave Finale. And just like every week, we have, a top-notch human being on. We have people from different walks of life, not always being with real estate or mortgage or insurance, but we have people that just want to help each other and help people. And today we happen to have a top real estate agent on from Texas, and I'm really excited to have her on because I meet a lot of people through social media. And my goal is not only to get them on my broadcast, but also to meet them in person someday. And I'm sure that Courtney and I will meet in person someday.
Absolutely.
But right now we've got Courtney Benson. Courtney Benson is from Texas, and we're going to talk about her and her past right after we get started with Nelson. Hit the video. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Good morning, everybody. I just want you to know that we've got one of the greatest real estate agents who has built her business. And why I say greatest is because she's built it on something that's we all need to do, and we don't do as well as we should have. Courtney's a top performing real estate agent and international speaker, recognized for her straightforward style and social media success, especially on TikTok, where she's over 10 million views. She is a relationship expert, in my opinion. And that's how we've decided to discuss a lot of different things, because I believe, Courtney, that you built your business on relationshiping, right?
Yes.
Which is, look, let's face it. The idea on a phone call, whether it's a cold call, a warm call, a hot call, is to continue to build a relationship so you can build your business. And the number one thing we want to do is show people that we care, because when we show people we care, they might care about us. Good morning, Courtney.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I am very excited. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about business, real estate, everything else, your story. But before we get started, there's a quick question I have for you. That quick question is really, really simple. I will tell you right off the start that 90% of people do get it wrong. So the question is a lot of pressure, right?
Feels stressful.
The question,
I'm sure I'll get it wrong.
is, what does TGIF stand for?
Oh, TGI. Well, I know it's thank God it's Friday, is I'm assuming what everyone says.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Thank God it's finale.
But I would, I was going to say something clever like that, and then but I wanted to lob it to you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's all about the relationships, Dave.
Yeah, how about that? That's right. It's all about the relationship. So, Courtney, here we are. It is Friday, November 8th in the year of 2024. I just want to put that out there so we can timestamp us.
All right.
Courtney, tell me about your journey. I mean, you've been in real estate for about 12 years, but you came from a different type of background and got started in a relatively little bit of a different way. So, tell us your journey from where you were, how you got into real estate, and how you've built it over the last 12 years.
Well, I think people get into real estate one of two ways. Either they're very planned and methodical and they have this great passion and idea for it, or their life falls apart and they're like, what the hell do I do now? And they go into real estate. I feel like I was in that latter category where my life had just fallen apart, and real estate just came to me, and it came to me in a really cool and unique way. I'm originally from California. I'm from Central California. I moved to Las Vegas. I went to UNLV, lived there for about 10 years. I was in the luxury cosmetic field. I was a celebrity makeup artist. I was a corporate trainer. I had a badass job. I was in my 20s. I was going to go to law school, but I was making so much money doing that I stayed in it. And I had a great time. And then I had 2 babies and got a fear of flying. So I decided to quit my job. And 2 weeks later, my husband got laid off of his job. And this was around that 2008, 2009 timeframe. Right. I still think many people are still scarred over to this day, a little PTSD from that time.
Absolutely.
But we were dumb. We didn't know anything, so we were like, well, we can't find jobs. Those jobs that we had weren't relevant anymore. People were getting laid off. So we cashed in some stocks, took our savings, and we decided to buy 2 dry cleaners in Frisco, Texas. We didn't even do dry cleaning. So I really don't even know where the idea came from. I blame my husband, but we like all good things. So we bought these 2 dry cleaners, and I put my little spin on one of them that we had, and it was successful, but it is really hard to make money in dry cleaning unless you have 10, 15, different places. And I hated it. At the end of the day, I remember our first client came in, we literally flipped the sign, and some guy pulled up with his clothes and came in the store and set him on the counter. And I was looking at him, and I'm looking at my husband, and I was like, I don't know. What do we do? Like, literally had no business owning these stores. And so he leaves, and my husband's like, well, we got to log it in and tag the clothes. And I said, well, it's dirty. And he goes, no shit. Like, what did you think? And I was like, not that. I don't know. In no time did I think. But we did that, and we went through all of our money running these stores. Our bills were $35,000 a month just to keep the lights on at the dry cleaner. And that's a lot of shirts at $1.35. Think about that when you go into your dry cleaner. And we ended up having to sell our house. They graciously came and took my car from me, so I didn't have to drive down and return it. That was super nice. So sweet. And so then I'm very scrappy, and have a really good work ethic. And I came from a very successful family, but I'm of the belief that we did it to ourselves, so we get out of it ourselves. So I went and cleaned houses. My husband would open the store in the morning. We had 2 babies. They're 20 months apart. Our oldest, I want to say I think he was like, 2, 3 at the time, and then a baby. And I would go clean houses for cash. Our neighbor would watch the kids. We lived on a $60 a week food budget. And we were in the good multiple 6 figures prior to that, and it just all went away. And, being in your 20s, you don't think it will all go away. And it all went away, and we had to start over again. And, I was sitting at the dry cleaner one day, and I was doing interior design boards. I mean, I made art, I cleaned houses, I did interior design, like scrappy. And so I was in the back of the store one day, and I was doing this interior design board, and this email popped up in the corner of my computer screen. And I looked at it, and I clicked on it, and it said real estate courses for Groupon for $199. And I clicked on it because we had a lot of realtors come in the store.
Right.
And, I spent some time talking to them. My parents have a very good real estate portfolio. I grew up with that. And I thought, oh, real estate. And I click on it. Well, I bought it. And I instantly tried to return it. I couldn't return it. And I'm bawling. And I called my husband, and he was like, oh my God, what's wrong? Like, is the store on fire? Like, dear God, how are we going? And I said, no, I just spent all of our money. And he's like the cool, collected one out of the 2 of us. And he goes, okay, well, what'd you buy? And I said, I bought real estate classes, and we had $237 in our account. So I left us with $38. And he said, that's okay. You'll be great. And it took me a year to work through it and get my license. And then by the grace of God, we were able to sell the stores. And, my first clients came from the dry cleaner. Like, I found them all on Facebook. I put cards on their bags. And I just had really built up a relationship with them, my family and I did. Like, we became part of the community, and it was really cool. And so they just believed in me, and they were like, hey, we're buying a house. We're doing this. Can you help us? And I was just so incredibly grateful for that. And so I really hit the ground running. And I think for me, when it came to marketing, I didn't know shit about any real estate, none of it, and, I just knew if I worked hard and I'm honorable, then, that speaks for itself, and it did. So that's how I got into real estate.
So you built your business through talking to people at the dry cleaners.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
what did you talk to them about?
Oh, dry cleaning is weird. It's actually very personal. When you go in the store, because we had one store that had a drive-through and one where you would go in and drop stuff off. Well, me being from retail, every square foot of that store costs money. So my idea was to bring in, because we didn't have any money, so we did almost like a consignment thing where people from Etsy, like local crafters who made, kids clothes or furniture, candles, bath stuff, like I sold it in the store. So it was actually a boutique as well as a dry cleaner. So people would come in and go shopping, and we had the babies there. Like they would literally like be running around or sitting on the counter coloring, and people were just either like, these people are so pathetic, or we were just very endearing, I guess, to them. They thought the concept was cool. Like, who came up with this, and people would just literally come in and talk to us. They would even come in and talk to us without bringing clothes in. Just like, hey, I was in the area, wanted to stop in and say hi. And funny enough, it's been 12 years since we've had the dry cleaner, 11, 12 years. And we're actually under contract on a house right now with one of our very first clients from the dry cleaner, still this many years later.
So, I started the broadcast talking about, I call you a relationship expert. And the reason I did that, you did not do that. I said that. And the reason is because you started your business by talking to people, and I don't know if you even knew you were starting your business that way, because you've done most of your business by referral as time has gone on, one way or the other, whether it's through social media, because let's face it, Courtney, you're building relationships on social as well from people that know you, because you said you started on Facebook, friending everybody on Facebook, and you spent a lot of time talking to people. And the interesting part about it is that you were interested in them. Right. And this is one of the biggest things that a lot of us, I work with a lot of agents trying to keep their business going, help them grow their business, scale their business, or get started. So I work with a lot of different types of agents. And one of the things I work really hard at is getting them to understand that, the people they know are the easiest people to talk to, but they think it's really hard. Okay. And you just did it because that's what you did. So when you got started, tell me about the beginning years of your business and how you were able to multiply and move forward.
I think there is a saying that you need to be interested, not interesting. And I think converting your sphere can actually be really hard. Still to this day, we actually find the people who are closest to us really don't refer us. And I think there's a multitude of reasons for that. But people who and I think what it is too is when you start and they're like, your closest way to business is the people who know you, like you, trust you already. And then when you come from a place of, okay, now I have this thing that I need you to help me get paid. It in your mind, it shifts, whether it shifts in their mind or not. In your mind, personally, it shifts because now you feel like you're maybe using that friendship for your own personal gain. And that can feel icky. And so when people start out, and I think I was very aware of this when I started out too, I was given advice, put your closings out there, do all this. And I have since stopped doing that. On Sundays, sometimes I'll share a highlight reel of the week or whatever, but I stopped doing that because that's about you. So a lot of the stuff that we put out there is about us. Well, if I show them I'm selling houses, then they're going to know I'm selling houses. And everything that we do for marketing is self-gratifying. It has nothing to do with the person who's watching. I think just, if I had to start over and have those conversations with my sphere, I think I would do it differently and maybe be more direct to them about, I just started this journey. If there's anything I can be a resource for you throughout, please let me know. Because people try to be slick about it. Like they get the real estate license and then they just start bombarding people with stuff instead of having a real conversation with them. Like, I'm not here to abuse our friendship. I'm not going to hammer you with stuff, but this is something that I'm doing. I'm not even asking you to use me, but if you ever had a question or I can be of a resource, please let me know. Can I practice on your house doing comps? I did that in the beginning a lot. I called people and I was like, hey, you own a house. Can I practice my comps on you? And they're like, all right, fine. And then I would just start doing comps for people and sending them, the CMAs, like, hey, thanks for letting me practice. Tell me what you think. And they're like, well, the number seems off. And I'm like, no, it doesn't, because the neighbor sold down the street. And then that started that conversation. But I came across as, I didn't start trying to get their business. I was just, hey, do you mind if I practice on you? Hey, do you mind if I have these conversations? And then what happens when you do that, then you get people actually invested in your success because they're now a part of it. A lot of times when I was at the dry cleaner and I started and I was coming up with marketing or names or things like that,
Right.
when people would come in, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, what if I did a postcard that said this? Like, would that make you laugh? Would that be funny? And they would give me their 2 cents. And then the next time they came in, they're like, did you send the postcard? Like, did anybody respond? And people were excited for me. And I didn't even know necessarily that I was doing that. I just did. And the same thing with social media. I tend to be a very self-deprecating person. And I think that came out of being in cosmetics, and you're so close to people's faces, and I did makeup on celebrities, and that is very intimidating, and you're very close to them, and I'm 6 feet tall. So I'm a lot of person. So I would tell jokes, or I would say things throughout the process, and that just carried into real estate for me. So instead of talking about, hey, I'm showing another house today, I'm like, where's the damn lockbox today? Oh, where's, and that's how I did early on. So they would laugh, they would engage with me, and
So you basically, so basically, what you're saying with what the thing you just said, where's the damn lockbox today, is kind of like documenting some silly things or some funny things that you had to go through on a daily basis. I want to go back to one thing
Sure.
that you said, is that you said that, one of the things about sphere of influence and talking to those people, that a lot of people, you felt like you were using their friendship to your gain, let's say, right? And I know that is an issue with many people, that recently talking about with people I'm working with, is that I found that for a lot of people, it's easier for them to call a for sale by owner than it is to call someone they already know.
Yeah, because it hurts to be rejected by people you know.
Right, exactly. And the other thing was, to couple with that, is that, well, how do I have this conversation? They already know me. It's kind of stupid for me to call them and just start a conversation out of the blue. And, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but there's really one way that you put up, like you're using their friendship. And I think most agents think and believe that, which makes it more difficult to talk to them. And then you went on to say that, you would tell them what you're doing and how it's important to you, just get it right out in front. Mm-hmm. And I believe that is probably the best way to do it. Will you handle friends that you talk to on a regular basis different than what I would term acquaintances, that you don't see a lot, that you know their name? Would you handle them differently, or would it be the same?
No, I think for me, I'm the same with everybody. So for me personally, no. I think what happens when we get these careers we do rely on, people working with us, right? That's how we get paid. We got to get to the closing table, right. Every 2 weeks, is to just be honest about it, and having that conversation with people, like, hey, I'm doing this, and this is how I get paid. I think we dance around it so much, and even at listing appointments, I think we dance around this fact. But I also don't think it needs to come from a place of insecurity. So when we're talking about being paid, or, we get to closing, we get paid, there's such a negative connotation for that. I mean, it's not negative for anybody else to be paid for their work. Why is it for us? But I think we've been shamed into that. So I think in taking that mindset away, that somehow, we're just doing all this work, and this check showed up at the end. That's kind of funny. That's how agents act. Like, oh, I didn't know I was going to get paid, or I'm just doing it because I really like you. And owning it and just taking that back. I mean, that's just a silly conversation to have. And when we act like that, the person on the other side is not fooled by it. So just be upfront and honest. Like, this is you know, this is what I'm going into. I love real estate for whatever reason. I think it is a great fit for me. Again, if I can be a resource to you to answer questions, or if you're getting ready to sell and you want to interview agents, I'm happy to sit and interview them with you. Like just learn and just absorb things, and realize that when you're new, people won't hire you. I know I get asked that a lot too. Like, when I do videos on TikTok, and I'll say, you know, my name is Courtney Benson. I sell 50 homes a year here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then I'll have agents say, well, I don't sell 50 homes a year. What do I say? And I remember one of my very first transactions I had, it was a $99,000 condo in Dallas. And it came from the broker I had at the time, and it was kind of a referral from him. And so I called the guy, and he said, well, I have a friend who's a realtor and he sells multi-million-dollar homes. And I said, okay, then it sounds like you don't need me. And he goes, well, no, I mean, this condo is above him. And I said, oh, that's a rough friendship. Like, literally, this is just like, I mean, what do I have to lose? And he said, well, why would I hire you over him? And I said, well, first, for starters, it sounds like he doesn't want it. And the other thing I will tell you is I have nothing to do all day except sell your house. So what do you think I'm going to do? If he's got all these other deals, is he going to be selling your house? I literally have nothing else to do but sell your house and spend all my time selling your property. And he was like, good enough for me. Okay. And I got the deal. Like, you just have to own it. It's when we start dancing around things that it gets, you know.
I really like that, because that's one thing we've talked about over the years with different agents and new agents is what if they say, how many homes have you sold? Well, I haven't sold any, and you're going to be my first listing. So all I have is time to work on your house.
Yeah.
You can work with somebody else that's got 85 listings, but you can work with me, and I'm going to spend all this time with the support of my great team or my great company behind me to do this, get this done. I think that owning it, that's, you know, we talk about this stuff so much and we worry about it. I love the approach where, you know, everything is upfront, everything is there, and we're not trying to be somebody we are not. Or we're not trying to hide that we're getting paid. I think this is the problem when we get that piece of paper that says licensed salesperson or says salesperson from our state, because all of a sudden we turn into this
a salesperson,
cheesy human being, cheesy, and some might say slimy, right? So, I mean, and then we're actually seeing transitions and different things from the changes that we've seen over the past few months. And we're seeing that. Another thing you said that you did, but most people wouldn't have caught it. And I caught it for a reason. I work with a lot of agents over my career. And one of the things that they love to do in marketing is to create. And when they create, let's use a postcard, because you talked about a postcard, right? And that's where I get my point to.
Ironically, I don't send postcards, but yeah.
Interestingly enough, one of the things you said is that you were developing a postcard and you would ask the people coming in to the cleaners what they thought about it. Okay. Here's the difference, Courtney, between what you did and what most agents do. What most agents do is they will do this postcard that is all about them, all about what they're doing, and they show it for an opinion to another real estate agent.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if real estate agents watching this or other humans are watching this and they don't know that we have something called realtor brain, right? We are blinded by our realtor brain, because if it says, because all these other people are saying, I just closed this house, $85 million over asking in 3 seconds. You know, we see all that shit, and we want to be.
When they do that, it sounds like they're not worth much.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to pay them either.
So, and the thing that you did differently is you asked someone not in the real estate business, and basically what they're giving you is their opinion on how it would affect them and how they would see it, which I think is really, really a real important thing, where you actually had an advantage over most realtors, is that you were sitting in an office with other realtors bitching and moaning about business or saying how great they were, right? And I think that's really cool, and I think that's really, really important. And as you went over to social media and what you did there. So, all right. So you started focusing on social media and getting people on board with your,
it was free. I didn't have any money. So it wasn't some, thought out choice. I was just like, oh, that's free. Okay, I'll do that.
So was there a manner in which you kept in touch with, I'm sorry, was there a manner in which you had documented keeping in touch with people, or it was just randomly on social and just moving forward? Did you create a list of any kind?
I don't know. I am the most anti-spreadsheet list person. That is, I don't make spreadsheets of anything. My husband does, but I don't. People would come in and I would be like, oh, right. And then I was like, you on Facebook? Yeah, I'm on Facebook. And then I would like friend them right there at the counter. And, but they were so involved in our lives. I mean, literally just a couple months ago, we ran into a couple that we haven't seen in probably a decade in downtown McKinney, since we sold the store. And Gabe walked by and he was like, his name was Dave. He was like, Dave? And he was like, and he looks at him and he's like this. And he goes, the dry cleaner. He goes, oh my God, yes. How are you guys? Oh my God, I've thought about you over the years. Like, it was just, I think too, we were in such a bad place in our lives. And it was so interesting to have people come in, because we were in an affluent area, and people would come in and they would share their hardship stories or their successes with us. You know, we would dry clean their new party outfit, or you won't see us for a little while because my husband just lost his job or whatever. And they would share these things with us. And I was so involved in their stories and their life. And then when they'd come back and I'm like, oh, we cleaning a suit for a new job. Like you have to be interested, not interesting. Like that is, I mean, over and over again, and that was it. And because I was interested and I cared about their families, they cared about mine. And so it was a very genuine, real connection. And I think that's so important. And it's easy to get away from that in real estate. And I've, had some years with that where you're stressed out and, the market, you don't know what to do and all of that. And I've spent a lot of time this year reworking some of my thought process with things just to find happiness. And kind of getting back to that, it's very easy to get carried away in real estate with running from one thing to the next. We're always so busy. You're either busy or you're in your head. There's like no in between. So it's easy to get lost.
So talk to me about that. We briefly talked the other day. We were talking about mindset, energy, and execution, and you just referred to finding happiness in your business, finding happiness and stuff. Talk to me about that. And where it came from and where you went from there.
I have just always, it probably came from my dad, was a very successful entrepreneur himself, very good work ethic. And, you're busy working. You don't have time for the feelings. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and you go to work. And I have always been of that belief. If you ask me about my mindset, I was like, you're full of shit. I don't know why your bills don't scare you enough to get up and go figure it out. Like that was just always how I've been. And around spring of this year, I was just like we had a really tough first quarter. We had switched brokerages. We've since switched brokerages again. But we had a really tough first quarter. So it gave me a lot of time to figure it out. Like it was just me and my brain for months. And I just kept thinking like, we did so well last year. We hit our goals all the time. We make good money. We have healthy kids who are successful. We've been married for 20 years. Like, why am I not happy? Like, I'm not, like, it always just feels like a burden and it's stress and all these things. So I went looking for an answer for that. And I found it on TikTok. I call her my business therapist because she's like I had never hired a business coach ever in my life. And so I just found her on TikTok and I liked what she said. And I called her and I was like, can I hire you? And she's like, yes. And she's all about, she came from coaching people in sales. And then she got really into mindset and energy and things like that. And I was just resonating with the things that I saw in her videos. And so I liked that she's able to take this concept that seems so woo-woo to me and bring it back to reality, which is my business. And we started having these conversations and it ranged from, things maybe I learned in my childhood to my adulthood. Like we literally had all sorts of conversations, business, not business, whatever it was. And it really opened my mind to being positive. And she said to me, and I think this just rang true. She said, how did it feel when you hit your goal last year? December 31st, you hit your goal and you did it. And she said, how did that feel? I said, it felt like shit. Why would it feel like shit to hit your goal? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I said, because I just kept thinking I have to wake up tomorrow and I have to not only do it again, I have to do better. And I said, I don't know that I can. I'm exhausted. I don't think I have it in me anymore to keep reinventing things and doing this and being fresh. And she said, you will never have a happy ending if you don't have a happy journey. And I was like, yep, you will never have a happy ending if you don't have a happy journey. And I was like, that is just, you hit the nail on the head with that one. And so then I started kind of thinking about that and how did I get to my goal? Did I get to my goal in an unhappy way? Yes, I did. I was stressed out. I was like, I was exhausted. I gave up time with my children. I was giving up things that I didn't want to give up because I was going to hit this goal come hell or high water. And that wore me out and I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. And so I had to take a step back and figure out what that was. And it was me. It's always me. So it's us, it's our brains. So that was my journey into.
So when you said it was you, what do you mean by that? Because this hits more people than you think.
It's me. It's how I think about things. I always bragged that I'm a really good realtor because I can see the shit coming down the road 10 miles away. So I can tell you by how the agent answered the phone, how their client's going to respond, what they're going to come back with. Like, I'm very good at that. I can tell you exactly how, and after you've been in it for a while, you're like, I can read them. It comes from a negative place, right? Like, we've had so many things bad happen that we can now see it and avoid it. And I carry that into my life too. So I'm never in the moment. I'm always over here making sure, next month we're okay. 5 years from now, everything's going to be okay. And so you never live in the moment. So it becomes very exhausting after a while. And when I've learned to let it go and, basically, her name's Ryan Dowdy she's on TikTok. And, she's like, whatever you think comes true. So if you think something's bad, it will be bad. If you think something's good, it will be good. And so I was like, oh, there's something to it. And it's so crazy. So I'm, it would be a really rough month and a half for me to hit my goal that I had. So I don't foresee that happening, but I actually have more peace about it than I ever have in my entire life. Like, I'm good. It's okay. It's okay because I feel like I have control now. I felt like all of the things I was pushing and pushing and pushing, but I didn't have control over my own thoughts. And so everything came to me as some sort of negative connotation. Everything was negative. It was draining. And so when I changed my thoughts, I changed my reality. I say a mantra all day, every day. And that helps too. Just, my name's Courtney Benson. Only good things happen to me. My name's Courtney Benson. I attract, I don't chase. Money and business and opportunities flow to me all day, every day. And I don't care if I'm loading the dishwasher, I'm driving to an appointment, I will just say it to myself because what I did when I started, instead of looking for problems, because I always felt like if I could see the problems before anybody else, I'm valuable because I can see the problems. Well, when you only see problems, you only get problems. So what if I change that? And now what if I actually looked for the good? And so every day I wake up and I'm like, all right, what good is going to happen to me today? I'm so excited. I can't wait for something great to happen. Sometimes I write down what I want to happen. And so now I look for the good. And what's so crazy is now I see good. And I'm like, where was all this good before? Oh, wait, it was there. I just didn't see it because I didn't bother to look for it. And when I changed that in me, it gave me a sense of peace. And once that peace came to me, it was like the floodgates of business started coming. And just like, we're so busy right now. And I said to my husband the other day, I said, where the hell did all this come from? And he was like, you. it came from you. He goes, you were so miserable. And then we made a change a couple weeks ago, and it was just like this weight was lifted off my shoulders and my whole demeanor changed again. But I recognized enough in myself now to know I could make a change. I can control that.
How difficult was it going from negative to positive?
No, it still sucks. It's still, yeah. I mean, I still, every once in a while, I will, all the time, like, I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I have to stop, I get to do things. I don't have to do things. I get to wake up every day and be a mom. I get to wake up every day and run a successful business. And if I had told Courtney this 12 years ago, she'd be on the freaking floor to know where we are now. Like I was so excited. The first thing I did, we had finally had, I think we had maybe 20 grand, 10 grand maybe in our account. And we needed carpet in the worst way. And I had ordered carpet and it was $3,000. And I called my mom and I was crying. And she said, what's wrong? And I said, I ordered carpet. And she goes, okay. I said, it was $3,000, Mom. And she goes, okay. And I said, no, you don't understand. The fact that I had $3,000 to get something that we needed is like, and I could cry now. I just sobbed and sobbed. And I was like, that's amazing. So I mean, you go from, I had Mercedes, I had Range Rovers, all that, to crying over $3,000 in carpet. And that's a really hard fall. And when your mindset changes when you hit bottom like that and you get stuck and you're just stuck. And so it took a while to come out of that. It's still pretty raw in me this many years later, but I know I have control over it. So if I look for gratitude and I look for the positivity, I will find it.
So in other words, I mean, it's something that's very difficult to do. And truth be told is I try to do this myself every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all about the positive and not about the negative, and self-talk, etc. And that also, I feel for me too, it also helps you get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because when you put up the roadblocks yourself, it's almost like you can't do it yourself to get rid of them. It's like you need somebody else to help you. And you're always looking. That's where the shiny object syndrome comes in, when you say, okay, I just need this. I just need this. And you chase it, and you really don't get anywhere.
We're notorious for that as realtors, because instead of changing ourselves, we're like, it's not us, we're not the problem. If I just had that one system that they're selling over there, if I just had that, it would make all my problems go away. And none of it does. I mean, I always thought, like, if I could sell $5 million, my problems would go away. If I could sell 10, 20, 30, and the more I sold, the more problems I had. It didn't make them go away. It just magnified them. And so I was like, well, this sucks. Like, when does it stop? And then I realized, oh, it's never going to stop, because I won't make it stop. So I personally have to make it stop. And that was my driving force.
It's like people live in the when I's. Like, when I do this, I'll be able to do this. Everybody lives in the when I's, right? That's what I like to call it. And it's all about building up the mindset of positivity, which is actually, does it lead to the energy to do the work? The positivity part? It
does. I will say, when I am grateful for what I have, and it makes me feel like I'm in control. And then when I have that feeling, then I know I can do whatever it is that I want to do. It's when I feel out of control, when I feel like things are happening to me against my will, or I'm not managing them. That's when I'm not motivated. That's when I sit on the couch and watch 600 Pound Life. That should never, by
the way. So talk to me about, okay, so I said we talk about TikTok, and I want to talk about that too, right?
I'm on TikTok live right now. We're on TikTok. See, I'll show TikTok what I'm doing here on my podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of people do Facebook and Instagram, and social media is a big part of what you do. And you've done a lot of business off of TikTok, correct?
Yeah, lots.
Okay, so tell me why. Tell me what you did. How did you get it? This is like let's give this social media secret of Courtney Benson out to the world.
Okay, well, again, like all things, I stumbled into it and then reverse engineered why it was successful. I think I do that all the time. I'm like, oh wait, this is working, and then I go back and try to figure out why it's working so I can duplicate it. For me, I got on TikTok during COVID. My kids were on it. We did a couple dances together. And then one day I was looking for a new construction home for one of my clients, $1 million budget, calling around. This is when they had wait lists and I called this one builder and they were such assholes, like just unbelievable. And I was so pissed, and I'm sitting on the couch and I had sweats on and hadn't showered. And I decided I was going to talk about my experience that I had gone through. And so I tell this story, and it just, like, people started watching it and commenting, and I'm like, oh God, like what, this feels weird. And then the next day I get a call from the builder I was talking about, and they said, your TikTok circled our office and we think you're talking about us. And I said, I was talking about you. And she goes on to keep talking. And I said, did it sound ugly? She goes, well, it just didn't sound very positive. And I said, correct. So now you know what the agents and the buyers of your properties feel like. I said, that's how you're making people feel. This is what we're going through to work with you. Mm-hmm. And I said, if it sounds ugly, just know that it is. And she's like, oh, well, and I ended the conversation. But it was in that moment that I was like, oh, like there's some power there. There's power to our words. And when you're honest, and I don't know how else to be any other way. I'm just honest. I'm upfront. I share too much. It's probably an ADHD trait or something. I don't know. TikTok also tells me I have ADHD. So,
it does. Oh, that's-
yeah, I mean, I'm undiagnosed, but TikTok has told me I have it. And so, it just kind of opened the door to sharing things. And I think the comment that I get most about the videos I have is, you're saying things I don't have the courage to say. You're saying things that my brokers never told me. I get agents all the time who are like, I learned more from you than I've ever learned from a class. Because it's experience, and I share my experience, and I try to make it funny. It's always authentic. And I film in the moment. I know some people like to record and then save their recordings. I film, and sometimes I do, but I still will film in the moment, which I think helps with that authenticity factor. Because whatever emotion I have about how I'm feeling, it comes out. And so I just kind of figured out, how do you show up on camera? How do you engage with people? How do you make that connection with people? And that, that's been successful for me. I really enjoy it. I actually like doing TikTok. If I wasn't able to get business off of it, I don't know that I would do it as frequently as I do, but I do enjoy it. And the connections I've made, I have agents from all across the US who refer me here in the Dallas area, and I give them a referral fee. And it's cool because they're like, these are my client babies, and I'm trusting you because I've watched your videos and I know you'll be honest and you know your shit. And like, here's, please take care of them. And then I get to take care of them. And it's just a really cool experience to do that and know that, people are watching and that they trust me, and I don't take that lightly. So I think that's cool.
Can you relate TikTok to Instagram or Facebook? And are you putting content there as well?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
TikTok, they're my people, because we're like, we don't care how you show up. Like, whether you brush your teeth or put on a bra, nobody cares. Instagram, or, they like it pretty. I don't always have time to be pretty. So it's more, Instagram's more curated. It's more of a nurturing platform. People don't typically go there to search things unless it's like interiors. People will search home stuff there, but typically it's just, it's one of those things that pacifies people. Mm-hmm. People go to TikTok, people go to Google, and people go to YouTube to search for things. Those are search platforms. So that's where your SEO words, your content, your hashtags, things like that come into play, because people are searching for things on those platforms. Facebook is like town hall. Like it's my local people mostly. I will share personal stuff or pictures of my kids on Facebook, which I typically don't do on Instagram or TikTok. But yeah, TikTok's my people because they're a little more raw.
Okay.
That's in the moment. That's my kind of style.
Yeah. What I like about what you just did, everybody, just so you know, you just got social media masterclass 101 about where, depending on where you're at, is going to depend on what channel you're going to go to and what social media outlet you'll go to. But I think you just answered a lot of questions for a lot of people of why they should be here or why they should be there and everywhere else. So
TikTok is conversion, and there's a lot of people who get business off of Instagram. But so far this year in 2024, I've had 63 referrals from TikTok.
63 referrals
from TikTok. I've had a couple from Instagram, but TikTok is where people find me. So yeah. And
so if you had to, so 2 questions. How often do you post?
Once a day.
You post once a day, and it's just what comes to your head when you're out and about or whatever, right?
Yeah. So I will pre-record some ideas, like I'll or jot it down. If something happens and I can't record it in that moment, I'll note the idea because they'll come to me and then it's gone. But right. I always try to think about what happened to me today. And it's always real estate related. Very rarely do you ever see me post something that's not real estate related, because you have to teach your audience what to care about, what you care about, to make them care about what you care about. So I keep it consistent with real estate. On Sundays, I do a Sunday gratitude post where it's a little behind the scenes of my life, things that I did that week, deals maybe sold or coming soon, but it's a very quick 20-second video. But I always talk about real estate, and it's a comforting factor because, like when you're on social media, you're there to be entertained, educated, and that's it. And so when you see my face, you know what I'm going to talk about. So I'm either going to piss you off or I'm going to make you laugh. Maybe I'll make you think about something, but it's life and real estate. And that's what I stay consistent with it, because if you don't know who you are and you don't know what you're sharing, nobody will care. Nobody cares. If I always I see agents, like one day they've got their clients with their sold sign, and then the next day they're out at the lake drinking a beer. I don't give a shit. Who are you? What do I care? But when you see me, I'm going to tell you something maybe that you don't know, or, I'm sometimes unhinged with whatever my thoughts are, because of the experience that I have. And I don't shy away from it. People who talk shit to me in the comments, I will talk shit back to them. I'm not that person. I take it very seriously. I know what I'm talking about. And that's very important to me.
Yeah, I really love the human part of it and being real about it. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, look, posting to them that, they had a closing and they're having a beer at the beach. I get that, and that's fine. And you know what? It's called lifestyle. I do that too.
That for Facebook. That's a Facebook thing. That kind of stuff is Facebook. Pretty pictures are Instagram. Real thing. What you're doing, working in your business, that's TikTok. That's what converts.
Do you think it's better to do it live or to record it and post it?
You record it and post it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think you have to have 1,000 people to go live. So a lot of people starting out don't have the live capability just yet.
Okay, I like that too. So here we are. We're running down on time. So a couple of questions. First question for everybody out there: you're an agent trying to get into this business, or you're doing this business. Times are changing. Everything's changing. What would be your bit of advice to an agent, either struggling or stuck or new, to get it rolling again?
Get out of the damn office, because nobody in your office needs you to buy and sell real estate. They all do that on their own. So people tend to hide in a real estate office because it makes them feel like they're working. And it can be very unsettling to just be free out in the world trying to earn commission. So you have to be focused on what your goal is, which is attracting clients. Stop taking all the classes. Everyone wants to take every class and sit in the office. Stop doing those things. You can go to meetings if it's really an important class to go to that you need to learn, but essentially you're going to learn as you do. I mean, we all know we got out of real estate school and didn't learn a damn thing. And it wasn't until you do transactions that you learn stuff. So maybe pick up almost like an internship. If there's an agent that does stuff that you want to emulate their business, act like an intern to them. Can I just sit in your office and listen to your phone calls? Can I just be around you? Can I, wherever that agent is, can I make photocopies for you? Can I sit in on your listing or do something like that? But you have to have the experience. People are trying to get all the education up front, and then they'll get the clients. No, you need to get the clients, and then you're educated as you go through it. And hopefully you have a really good team backing you up, because I sure wouldn't want to be out there by myself doing it. So make sure that you're with people who will hold your hand and go through that with you, and that you trust them. But it's not a 9-to-5 job. You need to be out in the world. You need to find clients, but in a way that's authentic to you, by listening to them and asking them what they need.
So for all those watching, and even you, Courtney, if you saw my head go down, is because I am taking notes.
Okay.
I have two.
I thought it was shame, Dave.
No, no, taking notes. Here they are, 2 pages full. Plus, I had to go off the side.
What?
But I've learned an awful lot. I really dug this. I have 2 more things for you. One question and one comment. How do I help you grow your business?
How do you help me grow? By talking to me, letting me have a platform. When you have something to share and people offer you a platform, take it. I always say, always take the meeting too. You never know what comes out. People always take the meeting, always say yes. And if you have something to share it, because that is the best way to get great things that come back to you, is by giving what you have.
That's great. Great. Next week, we have, just so everybody knows, we have the one and only Coach Pipes coming on, Bill Pipes, CEO of Coach Pipes G3 Coaching. Bill's a friend of mine. Bill's been on the broadcast a couple of times. He's been with Tom Ferry, Chet Black, Agent Academy. Now he's got his own gig going on. Bill's a wonderful human being. Today, we've had the great Courtney Benson on, teaching us all about building relationships. And of course, our broadcast would not be complete unless we had the hat. And
the hat. I can't wait. I can't wait.
The hat. And for all those that have not gotten their hat yet, I have been behind. I did move a few weeks ago. Okay. So I'm putting them all out. That's what I'm doing this weekend. So everything's coming.
That was the only reason I said yes to you, was for the hat.
See that? The hat. It is the hat. It's magic, right? But anyway, I want to thank you again for coming on. It's been a great broadcast, as you have shared an awful lot and went deep with a lot of things. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Please stay on for a minute as we go out. Don't forget, everybody, we got Bill Pipes next week. We're gonna have a great week. We're gonna have a great show next week, and we got so many other people coming on. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Hey!